Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Michel Habib. I'm a managing general partner at ALIVE Israel Healthtech Fund. We are a medtech and digital health mid-late stage fund based in Israel. Happy to be here. My first time to participate at LSI. Very excited and impressed by the organization and the people I'm meeting here. We have a very good panel of speakers from Israel. All of us are from Israel for a change, so it will be great to hear what we have to say about the Israeli medtech industry. So I will ask each of you to present himself, who represents the conference, with a leading question. Can you describe one characteristic aspect that is really outstanding in your perspective about the Israeli medtech industry?
Hi, nice to be here. So I'm Bitri Shemela, CEO and co-founder of IMMA. IMMA means mother in Hebrew. So we built a comprehensive solution, hardware and software, to allow women to perform their own transvaginal scan by themselves. First use case is IVF. So from the perspective of Israeli medtech, so what we can say is that we built a product, and I think that what we did is that we combine hardware and software. And we did this combination thanks to a very high-tech technology from software and AI in Israel. But we were helped by the medtech as well ecosystem outside, like the US, because our hardware, part of it is built with a manufacturer here in the US. So it's a combination of the two ecosystems, which brings us to this huge product.
Ilan?
Michelle, thank you for having me on this panel. My name is Ilan Chichel, the CEO and co-founder of CAPS Medical. CAPS Medical has developed a minimally invasive solution to target a wide range of solid tumors, with our initial focus being on bladder cancer. We're a clinical stage company. We have completed a very successful clinical study and now aiming towards our next stages of development, which will include a pivotal study, which will be a crossover between Israel, Europe, and the US. And I think it's a segue to your question, Michelle. What is unique about CAPS Medical? It feels like about CAPS Medical and about Israel, it feels like Israel is the bridge between continents. We're a very developed and self-enforced ecosystem with an eyes towards the US market on the one hand. So we studied from US books and now engineering and MBA courses. We're targeting the US market. This is how we program. However, we can leverage resources from other continents. We have a close proximity to Europe, both for R&D aspects, manufacturing aspects, specific capabilities that other continents lack. We have manufacturing capabilities in Asia and China, which is very quick turnaround and very helpful. And we have the ability to integrate all these three different cultures in one very unique product that we actually will deliver in the first.
Great. Thank you. Moving to Tzvika Barkei.
Hi, glad to be here. My name is Tzvika Barkei. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Picodya. Picodya has developed microfluidic lab-on-a-chip solutions, enabling us to do diagnostic, IVD diagnostic, both for research multiplexing in a very flexible and low-cost manner, and for clinical point of care or near patient diagnostics. I think the uniqueness about the Israeli ecosystem, the medtech, is it is actually a big, I would say, incubator with a lot of small incubator within. All these systems are in a small geographic with very good relations between entrepreneurs, between federal organization within Israel, a lot of OEM and technological manufacturing, a lot coming out of the army capabilities that has been developed over the years. And it's a great big alpha site for almost everything, while looking at the US market as the main market as coming as a beta site and for commercialization at later stage.
Thank you, Tzvika. And our last panel member, Boaz.
Thank you, Michelle. Thank you for having me on this panel. My name is Boaz Lifshitz. I'm one of the founding partners of Peregrine Ventures, a healthcare fund in Israel. About the uniqueness of Israel, I would say it's a combination of I would say ancient history of the thousands of years of arguing and different kind of aspects in intellectual studies. I think it has a vast impact on the characteristics of the people of the country. And then, and the second one is a modern history of Israel. We are still a very young country, and it's a country of immigration, of struggling to develop a country, and this turns into a big desire and hunger to excel. And it's combination of this ancient history of intellectual arguing, intellectual studying together with the thrive of many cultures of immigration creates this interesting, I would say, vibrant technology in the country.
Thank you, Boaz. So, reflecting on all your comments, I would like maybe to engage on the discussion about the Israeli medtech industry compared or in conjunction with the American market and the American medtech industry. So on one hand, the way I see it is that Israeli medtech is almost like a natural or organic extension of the American industry. So we feel like, part of one big family. But on the other end, we are unique in many aspects. So I would like to ask you, between looking at the Israeli medtech as part of the American medtech and being unique, where do you see the similarities on one hand, which are great for us as part of this large ecosystem, but also where are the uniqueness of the Israeli entrepreneurs? What is so unique about them compared to what we're used to see here in the States? So maybe I'll start from Boaz.
I think it's similar in the aspect of inventing new technologies, and you have a similar, I would say, system of universities and institutional of excelling in those different kind of studies. In that respect, that creates knowledge and also the desire to start new things, to create new things. In that respect, I think it's similar. However, the difference is the Israelis are more technological oriented and less commercial. Obviously, because of the nature of the place, we are in Israel far from the market, and also, but I said before, we also are. It's a younger industry, so I think it takes Israelis. It took us a while to understand aspects of commercialization and marketing. So here's a difference. On the other hand, in development, the Israelis are a little bit more, I would say, you can develop a technology in Israel cheaper than you can develop something in the United States. So that's a big advantage. In the same level, it's more efficient. It's the working power is a bit cheaper. So we have an advantage there, but the gaps are not as big as they used to be. So I think we're going into interesting collaboration.
Thank you. If we are looking at the Israeli spirit, the title of this panel is Lessons from the Startup Nation in terms of the roots in Israel set for the foundation for success. What's in the Israeli character really creates the success of the Israeli industry, the Israeli medtech industry, compared to other nations? Are we that unique? I mean, we have great technology, but do we have a special character that really characterizes us? Maybe Tzvika, you can enlighten us on this.
So, following what Boaz mentioned, I think what we have that allows us to make the advancement on the development of technology is the innovation and the fact that we are young company, so not everything is already straightened out over there. So we tend to think out of the box. We tend to improvise in early stages to make it quicker and shorter. We tend to be very agile. We respond to changes very quickly. we are in a surrounding which is very challenging. So it's not always the plan is fixed and we're able to follow on that. So I think all of these give us the leverage on the first stages, while we understand that the market is not in Israel, and when we need to scale up, we need the American, I would say, boots on the ground. We need to follow the regulatory pathway, which are all here in the US. And usually we know what we don't know and how to synergize it with the US, I would say, medtech ecosystem. Sometimes we know we don't know it, but sometimes we know it a little bit too late. But usually we know how to catch it up later.
Thank you, Tzvika. Beatrice, do you feel that the Israeli entrepreneurs are already learning all the necessary lessons in coming to the US market, working with American partners, or are we still acting as an alien entity coming to the big America? How mature or not are we in this respect?
I think that we have Israeli and US ecosystem. We are very linked, and it's like something like natural. When you build a solution in Israel, as you said, something agile and quick and dirty sometimes, and then you have you go to the US market, it's like natural. So the ecosystem are very linked. For example, from the beginning, we built an advisory board with US advisors, with European advisors as well. So from the beginning, we thought that we have to be international. We are very small. We won't be able to stay, of course, in Israel only. So from the beginning, we think big because there is no choice. So this good thing of having no choice, we have to go outside, is something which brings us very quickly to the US. And there are so many natural connection between Israel and the US that these things are done very smoothly and with a lot of friendship, I should say. So a good thing for us and good thing for the US as well.
Thank you, Beatrice. So on one hand, we are learning, we are adapting, and I think that we are becoming more and more integrated with the American ecosystem, culturally, but also business-wise. Ilan, do you feel this is the case, or do you still feel that there are, gaps between how we operate here and how the American industry expects us to work with? Where do you see the gaps and that still needs to be worked on or closed?
Well, thank you for the question. As a general case, I would say being a second-time founder is better than being a first-time founder. And I think that a medtech ecosystem is already composed of second and third-time founders, which makes the integration much more streamlined. I had personal experience in working with companies that begin from scratch, from idea on the napkin, going into commercial stages very quickly and adjusting along the way, in some cases with very painful lessons. And I have been in a company that started as a same idea on the napkin and evolved into a binational organization headed by a very senior ex-corporate CEO, and the integration was very streamlined. I think it very much depends on the personal experience that the team brings to market. And the Israeli market has been through very painful lessons over the past 2 decades, allowing to be very streamlined, integrated into the US economy. You can see it actually in the LSI conference. It's my 3rd LSI conference here. I think I know more entrepreneurs from the other side of the pond than I know from Israel attending these events. We're facing the same challenges. We're going through the same motions. We're raising the same funding round at the same time with the same success rate. I wouldn't say there is a very significant difference at this point that I would point out 10 years ago.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Trying to connect, these comments to the actual realities we are living in, Israel and America and the world. We had very intense and challenging years, starting from the COVID and later on the war in Israel, which is still, evolving. And I don't think we have reached, going back to normal fully. On the other hand, if you look at the Israeli medtech performance vis-a-vis America, the last 4 or 5 years have been quite impressive. Continued investments, M&As, business collaborations. We can see that the strategic alliance between the American business community and the Israeli business community across all industries, but including medtech, is a very strong alliance. How do you explain it? Is it only the technology supremacy or the quality of the technology? Is it the people? Is it the needs of the American industry for innovation? Is it a deeper layer of alliance? How do you explain the strong performance of the Israeli-American medtech relationships across the challenges that we are facing?
I would divide the difficult times of COVID and the Israeli war that we have in the last 2 years. COVID, for some weird and interesting reasons, was actually good for the medical industry. I think mainly because the government and institutions understood that there is a lack of technologies in that field, lack of investment in infrastructure, and therefore money was injected also by governments and by private investors very quick after the beginning of COVID. It took us about 4 to 6 months to recover from the beginning of the shock of the COVID situation, and actually the 2 years of COVID were interesting financially, good for the industry. I think this was similar to Israel and to United States and worldwide. In terms of the war, obviously very worrying times in our country. Here you saw and you are seeing some kind of interesting resilient aspect that was me as an Israeli was a good surprise and even heartwarming. And look at it. I would say look at it. If you can look at it as a we're not post-war, but look at it as a post-war phenomena. People after the shock of the first few months, people are thriving, or people have a desire to create things, and therefore you saw an interesting phenomenon here as well, of a lot of entrepreneurs, new ideas coming into the system. But we are still in difficult times and still in challenging issues. I think we have a privilege of having good friends in the United States who are giving us support and injecting continuous investments in the industry. So in that respect, it's getting better, but there's a lot to be done. And again, I have a lot of faith in the cooperation of the two countries.
So it seems that the Israeli-American medtech alliance, let's call it for the sake of this discussion, is strong and proved to be dependable, something that we can depend upon. If you're looking at the future from now on, what do you think? I'm asking Tzvika, what do you think the two industries should do or can do in order to further strengthen the ties, the collaboration, to take it to a next level?
So, again, like Boaz said, I think there is a very good foundation that has been built over the last 7-8 decades on weaving the connection and the bidirectional collaboration on all levels. It starts from federal governments of both countries, and it goes down to physicians who are mostly doing postdoc in hospitals in the US, and everything is weaved already to the point that the collaboration level on all aspects are already there. I think it will need to grow. Just one example that how it is related. When it was COVID time, we were with a collaboration agreement with the NIH, International Institute of Allergy and Infectious Disease, And in the middle of a discussion we had in Maryland with the team, they had to go outside to have a discussion with the Ministry of Health of Israel to decide whether to give the second vaccination or the third vaccination in Israel, as it already been used as a, like I said, a beta site where the HMOs were acting very quickly. So I believe that this kind of collaboration will only get further deepened, and as technologies are rising, AI and all aspects of technology, I think it will come on the same network and will be stronger and stronger.
Thank you. Ilan, on one hand, American VCs, American corporates are investing in Israeli medtech startups continuously. On the other hand, it seems that it's not enough, right? There is still a challenge of accessing capital and partnerships in America, although we are, working very nicely together. Where do you feel there is an obstacle or a challenge in bringing additional or more American investors to invest in Israeli companies, across distances, across the cultural gaps, maybe the acquaintances? Where do you see the challenges as being a non-US industry tapping on the door of American corporations and investors?
Thank you. So I want to piggyback on Boaz's comment beforehand. I don't feel that there's a specific challenge to Israel, because let's be fair, most of our companies are being funded by US VCs. The challenges are not in the location, the access, or the location of the company. There are good times, there are better times, but there are bad times for everybody sometimes. Yeah. The challenge is where the money is going within the industry. And I think this is a challenge for all early stage companies across the board, not necessarily Israeli ones. And we see this with other innovators here in the study. The money is gradually shifting towards growth from the early stage companies. And here I would say that actually Israeli has a certain edge. We have a very strong non-dilutive innovation grants for this early stage, to bridge this early stage gap. And it's very helpful from personal experience. Some companies can substantially get closer to the growth stage using this funding. So I would say the gap does exist, but I would say it's the other way around.
Great, thank you. Beatrice, I want to ask you a question that, taking this one step further. On one hand, when it comes to R&D, research, early stage, the Israelis know what they are doing, innovation, deep science, support from the government. We have all the ecosystem in place. And I think the Americans recognize it, and this is why they are looking at Israeli innovation. On the other hand, as companies mature and approach the need to go to the US market, this is where we need to rely more and more on the US advantages and the US know-how and market know-how, etc. Do you feel that the two ecosystems are already mature enough or evolved enough to understand each other's advantages, weaknesses, and find the best way to collaborate? Or are we still learning each other? What's your experience?
My experience is that everything starts from human and from people. And from what I see, there is a lot of personal link between Israeli people and US people. You have friends, you have family, and we visit each other. And that creates an ecosystem which is personal, but this has a huge impact on the professional way. And this is amazing, because each time you speak to someone in the US, you say that you're coming from Israel, there's always a link and there's always someone in common. And I think that these strong links then leads to, naturally to something personal, to something professional. And when you create these kind of links from the personal way to the professional way, then it creates strong things and strong partnership with trust. So I think that these kind of links, which we already have together, allows us to build and to bring the innovation from Israel to the US market. Without, of course, we have to adapt. We have to understand more and more the mindset of the market, how to go through this very non-simple, I should say, reimbursement pathway, etc., etc. So you have to do our homework. We have to have all the experts that we need around. But as soon as you have all this kind of good ecosystem that you build, for example, when you come to this kind of conference, then you build the right ecosystem, and then there is that creates you the right pathway to success. So not easy, but this is the way to go.
Thank you. Boaz, back to you. Most of the panel members here are entrepreneurs, managing startups. You are a venture capitalist. You are investing in Israeli companies, I think, in most of the cases. When you look at American innovation, the American medtech industry, I've been meeting here amazing startups. Where do you see the inflection point where Israeli investors will start investing in American startups and reverse the flow? Meaning, let's starting to merge not only the American business knowledge and the Israeli innovation, but so vice versa, American innovation with Israeli financial expertise and risk taking, even in venture capital activities. Where do you see the future in this respect?
It depends in early stage or later stage investments. I think you see already in these days in Israel, we see it in our fund, for example, a tendency to invest in American companies, especially in the more advanced stages. And an investor by nature is always more comfortable to invest in companies which are geographically near to them, because we want to go and visit those companies. Sometimes I give a call to a company, I want to see you today or tomorrow. So by that nature, it's easier to invest in a later stage, and I think you see it more and more. You see it more from Israeli funds, and as the market is getting more global and the cooperation between the two countries is getting stronger, I think that what we will see is more investments coming from Israel into American companies as well.
Thank you. We have less than a minute, so maybe I will give you the floor, each of you, to maybe pinpoint one aspect of the American medtech culture that you are exposed to in your daily dealings with partners, etc. One aspect that you think we should adopt as Israeli medtech entrepreneurs, something we envy that we don't have at home, that you would like to bring home from here. Zvika.
Well, the market is here. We need to have better understanding of how the marketing is acting, and we need to do it in more earlier stages where we are focusing on proving our technology. I think the American way is much more focused on putting that on the first stages, and we need to do that more. As you said, we learn all the time. We learn always.
Beatrice, any thoughts about it?
I think that one point of the Israeli ecosystem is that we are more informal. So sometimes it's good because you need this informal way of doing things to go faster and to be very agile. But sometimes you need more structure. And I think that this is a very good point from the American system, to be more formal, to be more structured. And this is something we need to learn if you want to grow, you need this kind of way of doing things more structured. So this is something I will bring back. Yeah.
Thank you, Ilan.
Thank you. So I wouldn't reiterate what Boaz said, but I think to be more specific, growing into a market and understanding how to approach the sales part better, grow into it, can be very helpful, and it can be taught.
Thank you, Boaz. Any closing remark on this?
I'll do an Israeli thing. I will answer two different. I will not answer that question or say something else. I think we are guests here in the United States at this conference, and I'm only thankful of this country of hosting us and cooperate with us in the industry and also generally. So absolutely.
Thank you very much to the panel members. Thank you for the audience for attending.